Hello, folks. Welcome to Scratch the Surface. My name's EJ Scott. Oh, you're in for a doozy today, folks. Dave Pasquesi. This was maybe one of my favorite interviews. I had so much fun talking with Dave. I admire him so much as an improviser, as an actor, and he's a good man. And I appreciate him taking time out to talk with me. He's a busy dude, and he didn't have to. So I'm grateful that he did. We talked about a lot of stuff. We had a lot of good laughs. He's very funny. So we talk about his background. We talk about how he is one half of the TJ and Dave duo. TJ and Dave, if you don't know, is one of, if not, I don't know, a more popular improv duo in that world. But if you ever get a chance to see them in Chicago or in New York sometimes, go see them, TJ and Dave. And they're on Vimeo. If you have that app, Vimeo, you can see a bunch of their shows uncut on Vimeo. It's like $2 or $3 each or something. Worth it. So go check that out. So we talk about all his acting in Chicago and acting on TV and in movies and some of the great people he's worked with, like Harold Ramis and Bill Murray. He worked with he's on VEEP, so he worked with Julia Louis-Dreyfus. He's been in Groundhog Day. He's been in 4 Harold Ramis movies. And he was in Father of the Bride. We talked about Steve Martin Short. So much fun. And I listened to this interview already like 2 or 3 times because I enjoyed it so much. So I hope you will also listen 2 or 3 times, but if you listen to it just once, I think that that's good for now. Before we play it, let me just say you can find me on the Twitter at EJ Scott, the podcast at EJ Podcast. Find me on Instagram, EJ Scott 1106. I have a website. Sure, I do. EJScott.com for all your EJ Scott needs. I'm raising money for charity, so you can go to crowdrise.com/7on7 and give to a worthy charity. I'm in a documentary called Running Blind. It's a 30-minute short documentary. You could buy or rent for $2 or $3 on iTunes or Amazon or Google Play. And it's about me running 12 marathons in 12 states in 12 months in 2012. Blindfolded. What? Yes, I did. And I did that because I'm losing my eyesight to an eye disease called choroideremia. And it runs in my family. I'm legally blind now. My grandfather was blind. My mom's a carrier. My sister's a carrier. My brother has it. He's probably legally blind by now. And I have 2 nephews that have it as well. So check out that documentary if you have $2 or $3 and 30 minutes of time. It's done really well, so I don't think you'll regret watching it. So there you go. So enough of the small talk. Let's get to the interview. Dave Pasquesi is one of my favorites. I even got to improvise with him once, and that was awesome. So I'm sure you'll love this interview with Dave Pasquesi. Thanks. Okay. And you have a heart. Let's say a heart out is 12:30ish. Does that sound right?
It does.
Okay. Let's see how we do. Oh, thanks for having me here.
Hey, Jay.
Hey, Dave. How's it going?
Good. How about you?
How's New York treating you?
I like it here. I like it a lot.
How often you guys get here? Like a year?
4 or 5 times a year.
Wow.
And we do 4 shows each trip, or we do 1 at Town Hall.
The big one.
Right.
When do you decide that? Like, when does that work?
Part of it is, like in this case, it's going to be, we'll do that in the spring, we'll do that in March. And part of it is because Barrow Street won't, once in a while they'll have a show there at their theater that we can't play on their set
Right.
for whatever reason.
Right.
And this one, Sweeney Todd's coming, and the whole theater is going to be, you know, a part of the whole theater is going to be the kind of an environmental
Right. It's all
setup, right? So we're not going to be able to play.
I mean, you kind of could. It's an improv show. You could kind of play in
the pie shop. Yeah, we could.
You know, you'd be like, "Hey, would you like some pie?" You know, or whatever.
Every show, all show long. Just keep asking.
I don't know.
Anybody want pie?
You kind of could. I mean, you guys were part of an improv show that was like an improvised play.
Right.
What was
called
the name of that?
Stolen House, and that is exactly what we do. We go onto an existing set.
Yeah.
And improvise our own play using their set kind of as the suggestion.
Yeah, that's great.
That's something they could do. Right. We could do it at a place like that.
Yeah.
But our show, not really.
You guys are purists with your show, pretty much. Do you think like you're like we do this is what we do. We don't really want to change what we do because it works.
Well, I don't even know that it's because it works, but that's just what we kind of just do that one thing. Like right now, there's doors on the set.
Yeah.
And we don't even
use them.
We won't use the door. No, because we won't. If we go ahead and establish some things as real, then we can't mix in the imaginary.
Oh, okay.
Like we can't use imaginary props and real props. Like with that Stolen House thing, it's all real.
Yeah.
We're all playing only one character, and we're actually using the things on that set, and we can't all of a sudden, now we're in a helicopter. We can't do that. So in our show too, we can't really mix between what's real and what's not because it's too difficult for everyone to follow.
Right.
Oh, wait a minute, there's some rules that you can break all the time.
Do you like one over the other? Do you like the challenge of like the set?
I do enjoy that. I think what I enjoy most of all is the show I do with TJ.
Yeah. Well, you guys have been doing that how long now?
I think it's 14 years.
Wow.
I think.
That's pretty good. Yeah, you must like it.
Yeah, right.
Nobody's making you do it.
Or I'm a masochist.
This TJ he makes me so mad.
It's really what I need.
Well, how'd that all start? How'd you and TJ hook up? Why did you guys work so well together and not other...
A couple different questions there. We ended up just getting thrown together for Chicago Improv Festival. At a last minute, the headliners couldn't make it, and so we threw together a group of whoever was there, whoever was in town.
Yeah.
And I think this is who it was. Me and TJ, Noah, Dorf, Jimmy Carrane.
Is that it?
No, I think there was one other person.
Okay.
It's not coming to mind right now.
Okay.
But we did a show, and it was fine. It was fine. And maybe Mick.
McNapier.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was fine. It was just a regular Harold or whatever or montage, and then afterwards, that was the first time I worked with TJ. Really, I think I went and met him and did a set at Second City years before that. But afterwards, we were talking and we got along together, and then Noah later said something, and Adsit I think was there. Yeah, Adsit was there too, and Noah said something like, "You guys should do a show together." So we started talking, and we ended up doing a show. We just the two of us. We picked a weird time, so not too many people would come.
Yeah.
And so like 11 o'clock on a Wednesday night.
You just experiment. You're like, let's just see what happens.
And we did one show that wasn't like what we're doing, and then we were like, we don't want to do that. And then the next show, we decided to just follow it, like...
Pretty much what we see today?
Yeah.
Wow.
Just moment to moment and not jump around in time.
What was that?
I don't think that we even discussed whether or not we were going to jump around in time. I think it just turned out that way. But we just decided we're going to follow moment to moment and kind of and we only play other characters if they're mentioned or intimated, like, well, this guy's here and he says he's married. There must be a wife somewhere, so we could play She's Open. And we didn't really ever codify it. It was just after many years we realized, kind of looked at it, well, this seems to be what we're doing. But I think the only thing we were talked about was moment to moment, follow moment to moment, and not plan anything other than that.
Yeah. And what was that first show like?
We did kind of like 3 completely separate scenes.
Okay.
We just
almost
did
like a Harold, kinda. Ish, not really. Never mind.
It wasn't good. Also, it was kind of uninteresting and. I think we were just. We failed in uninteresting ways.
Okay.
Just like, this is bad. Whereas now when we eat it, it's at least, I think, a little more interesting.
Yeah, well, it certainly is. I've seen the last 2 shows.
Oh, great.
And I'll see the next 2 shows.
Oh, wow.
That's right. All 4 shows. I'm excited that you guys are here because I don't get to see you guys anymore. So.
Wow, all 4.
All 4. That's how we do it.
Right on.
So what did you guys think of the last 2 shows? You guys are halfway done with your mini run here.
Well, we kind of, sometimes we look at coming in and doing 4 shows as well. We got to get out of here without humiliating ourselves. And we're halfway home. I really enjoy it. The crowds at Barrow Street they're great. They make it real fun for us.
It's nice little... It's like 200 people,
200,
maybe?
yep. 204. Right? I think it's this. It depends on what show's there, but right now I think it's about 204 or something like that.
And I saw you guys do Town Hall once, and that's, what is that, 1,000 or more?
1,400.
1,400. So what does that feel like in comparison? Does it feel the same, or...
Once we get going, it feels the same.
Okay.
Walking out onto the stage, it's ridiculous.
Right.
But once we get going, people, again, these New York crowds are so nice to us. So it's really...
Are you surprised?
It didn't... Well, no, I'm not surprised anymore, but it didn't used to be that way. When we first started coming, it was rough.
Really?
Tiny houses... and
at Barrow Street.
And part of the deal was we're trying to do this for people who aren't real familiar with improvisation, which is why we did it in a theater rather than one of the improv theaters in town. We did it as a legit theater to try to expose regular theater patrons to improvisation as a viable alternative or option when considering your entertainment evening. And so, and that's thanks to Scott Morphy and the Barrow Street and Tom Wirtschafter, who the owner of it. Those guys are the ones who have stuck with us and helped us build this whole thing up. The first year we came every month. We did 4 shows every month.
Wow. Was that a lot?
It was a lot.
It's a lot. I mean, you got travel and all that stuff.
It was a lot, and also we're coming and doing shows for not a lot of people.
Yeah.
Just
a couple dozen, maybe.
Yeah, it built. It ended up building, but over considerable time.
Was there a point where there's not much crowd and you guys are traveling from Chicago? Are you going, should we do this? Should we go there? Why don't we just stay here in Chicago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure, that came up. But I think we always kind of wanted to. There was enough. It was growing every trip.
Okay, you saw that.
Yeah, it was absolutely growing. So we're. And the first year, I think one of the reasons that we came in that often is so that we could be reviewed as regular. They won't review you if
like once a year or something.
Yeah, or even what we're doing, at least 4 or 5 times a year. They don't review that. They'll do so. That was trying to to help with press and stuff like that.
Okay, well, it worked. I mean, if you're selling out town hall, that's pretty good, right?
We have not sold out town hall.
Oh, okay. Excuse me. You did pretty good
This time we're going to sell it out.
with my podcast.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you have to, when you do town hall, you guys are mic'd.
Right. And that's about the only difference. And the thing is, we've been mic'd before. Whenever we shoot the shows, we're mic'd. Like we have there. So we did the documentary with Alex Karpovsky.
This is Trust Us. This is all made up.
Right, and then
great one.
Now we have I think there's 8 shows on Vimeo.
Yep, there is.
And so we're mic'd for those too. So we're somewhat familiar with wearing those. I think it would be weird to have to do all that strange stuff at once.
Do you feel like, I know with some improvisers, they do their thing, they do it great, but as soon as a camera's on them, something's different.
Mm-hmm. Yep, we had to get used to that. But also, when we started with Alex for Trust Us, This Is All Made Up, and then with Mike Lieber, who shot the Vimeo series, it was the same thing. And it's important for us not to see the cameras. It's equally important for the audience not to see the cameras, because they change. And the audience is a really big... The audience, I don't want to tell the audience this, to give them this much power. They're a huge part of this.
Yeah.
And so if they're taken out of the experience by 8 cameras around them, that's not helpful for our show. And so from Alex on, we always hide the camera people.
Because it's one take.
Right.
It's one shot.
Right.
All the way through.
Right, we're not doing anything. And so they're hidden under, like, basically duck blinds of duvetines. So when the audience comes in, they just see, like, a tent. They don't see any cameras.
Interesting.
And when they're backstage and stuff, they're just lenses poking out from, the curtains in the wings. So no one really, you can't there's like something's going on, but you don't really see the cameras.
I think we're being watched.
that sense that we all have? Well, in our case, it's correct.
Yeah. So I'm curious about that Vimeo show, which is great, and anybody listening that's interested, you could buy it for like $30. These 8 really well done,
or one-offs,
or one-offs too, or for a season. I bought the season, but
bless you.
Thank you. I feel blessed. How many did you? I always thought improv could work on TV because everybody else has said no. And
there's been a lot of evidence that it can't.
Right. So I had very little evidence that it could, but I always thought, well, if you tape like a Beer Shark Mice, for instance, and you take their best shows and you put it on TV, it's going to find an audience. Now, how many shows did you guys tape? Just the 8 or more?
I think we did 10 and put 8 of them out. Which is a much better ratio than Trust Us. I think we shot 5 or 6, 5 shows and only chose 1.
Okay.
I think we did it. He can't. We didn't know. Alex did that whole thing. Alex Karpovsky, and he did a great job.
Yeah.
And we shot that one of those weekends that we came in, all 4 shows. And then he cut one to, he chose the best one of those. Mm-hmm. And that was part of that was us getting used to the cameras and us getting used to the mics. And we weren't used to the cameras and we weren't used to the mics, and things changed. And so he ended up using a different show. Next trip we came back, he shot a couple more shows and you chose one of those. And
he followed you after each show? Because in the documentary, because in the documentary, he follows you into the green room or whatever.
Oh, yes.
That's what I mean.
Yes, the green room, yeah. I thought you meant during the day.
No. So what is it about the camera that changes us on stage like that kind of puts us...
It was Eisenberg, right?
Jesse Eisenberg?
No, yeah, Jesse Eisenberg. His name? Eisenstein. Sorry.
Okay. I don't know.
You're absolutely right. No, the idea that that it's observed changes it, right? And even an experiment he's talking about. An experiment, if it's observed, it is changed because it is observed. So it's the same thing for for us, it's just, it's another thing to get used to. Like, it's just a distraction. And I think part of it is because as an improviser, you're trying to pay attention to everything, right?
Right.
And so you see those cameras, and you kind of then have to, that's something I'm not supposed to pay attention to.
Right.
And so to me, my belief is that it's just something else to get used to.
Yeah.
And like at town hall, they want us to wear the microphones that are on your face.
Yeah.
But we won't do that.
Okay.
There'd be better sound.
Distracting.
Really distracting, because we're looking at each other's faces for a lot of information.
Yeah.
And if there's a microphone wire taped to their jaw, that's all I'm ever going to see. Right. And so we wear, the lavs on our shirt collars.
Do you think there'll be a season 2 of the Vimeo show?
I don't know. Okay. Actually, Mike, the guy who shot it, Mike Lieber, will be at the show this evening.
Okay.
Here in New York City.
Yeah, that'd be so cool to have a regular, every year or two, you guys come out with like 8 new episodes or something, because you do the Chicago run at the Mission Theater at I.O.
At I.O. there in Chicago. Every Wednesday night it's 10:30.
Every Wednesday night at 10:30. You've been doing that forever. You could tape every show every week.
Yeah, but I mean, he has to come in and bring
cameras and stuff.
8 cameramen,
right,
and all the equipment, and then he sits back in the green room and kind of calls it live.
Okay.
So he's talking to all the cameramen and calling it like a sporting event. He's like, now, hey, Jimmy, you go in closer, and so he's calling it like a sporting event.
Don't mess up, Jimmy.
Yeah, Jimmy, what are you looking? Jimmy, can you get the old man with the painted face and the big D and fence? We do get people that paint their faces sometimes.
Really?
Yeah, and they come in and they hold up a big D and then a little piece of a picket fence.
That's funny. By the
John
way,
3:17 or whatever the fuck it is.
Congratulations on the Cubbies this year.
That is not for me. That does not apply to me.
What do you mean?
I grew up as a Cubs fan. Grew up as going to the Cubs games, being a Cubs fan.
Yeah.
And they broke my heart so many times. I no longer pay attention to baseball. And also, the Ricketts family contributed to the Trump campaign. So,
Yeah.
eat shit. Eat shit, Ricketts. Not the Cubs players, of course.
Right. Sure. I mean, they're fine, and probably most of them. All right. Well, I take it back then. No congratulations.
And also the last, and I know, right? I'm sure there's some fine people associated with that organization, but and I'm sure there's some people that are the fans of that team that are okay. But for the most part, I find the Cubs fan in the neighborhood of Wrigley.
Yeah.
At least the ones that I run into.
Yeah, the drunk ones.
Yes, the reprehensible. Yeah,
right.
Just
Deplorables.
Deplorable.
Right. Well, we have a lot of mutual friends that are huge Cubs
yes,
fans.
Absolutely.
Some of them went to like every game
Yep.
of Game 7.
The World Series.
Mm-hmm. I've only been to like two or three Cubs games at Wrigley. I'm not a sports person, but I got caught up in the World Series and I watched the entire Game 7, and it was I was stressed out. I will never watch sports again. I was completely stressed out through the whole thing.
It was a Wednesday night, so we were doing a show while the.
Oh God. Really?
Yeah, while we're hearing all the screaming from so ordinarily we have a pretty full house in Chicago.
Yeah.
That Wednesday night was I think there was 20 people.
No kidding.
And we had to do the show because there was 20 people there.
Go back to your roots, the old days.
yeah. People scratching their heads and leaving.
I thought this was written. I'm leaving.
This is so. I guess it's just going to be more like this.
Do you ever? I was at a show one time at I.O., the old space, And in the beginning, so you guys go, in the beginning, you trust us, this is all made up. You don't get a suggestion, nothing like that. Usually for improv, somebody asks for some sort of a suggestion to inspire the beginning and whatever. You guys chose not to do that. Is that from the beginning?
From the beginning.
From the beginning. And it served you well. But what's funny is the show that I saw. So you're like, trust us, this is all made up. Lights go down. They come back up. It's on you guys. And it's pretty silent for a little while. And then there's a guy in the audience that says, say something funny. You know, like one of those guys. You guys ignored him, to your credit, and then went on with the show. But I thought about that guy the whole time. The whole show. That's my own problem.
No, I have a similar problem.
yeah. But especially in Wrigley, it's just a drunk area.
Right.
You got those guys stumbling in.
Yeah, and again, the audience is pretty great.
Yeah.
The audience will tell, like, because in a lot of places, like if you're in a stand-up club, that's kind of okay. It's not a wonderful thing to do, but it's somewhat expected. But in our shows, that nobody does that.
Yeah.
And
with stand-up, you could take care of a heckler.
Right.
Kind of. You could say, all right, you're a dick, get out of here, or whatever.
Right.
When you're improvising and doing a show, that's less...
It's more difficult for us as a performer to yell at him, and then try to get back into the show. Yeah. And now back to our little drawing room drama.
TJ, where were we?
Right.
What were we doing? Who was I?
Right. Oh, was that? Okay. I think I got it. Yeah, it's... But the audience turns on them.
Yeah.
And at first explains to them, yeah, we don't do that here.
Yeah.
And if they keep it up, the audience will... It's pretty fun to watch.
Yeah.
The audience takes care of us. It's pretty great, yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, I've seen more heckling than I've enjoyed, at I.O. and stuff. Just like, I.O. West is on Hollywood Boulevard. You get the same thing. You got people just plastered drunk that don't really understand what they're watching, and then they just start voicing their confusion.
But yeah, I do think, I think that happens everywhere. You go to the movies and people are...
Oh, I can't stand it.
People are horrible.
Just in general.
Except our audiences. They're fucking great.
Yeah, they are great. Well, now you guys have like, you guys play Ike Reilly.
Right.
A bunch of Ike Reilly songs as people are getting their seats and stuff like that. And then there's one song in particular you play that shows, okay, the show's about to start.
Right.
I forget the name of it.
The one in New York is Kami Drives a Nova.
Okay.
But we have a different one in Chicago.
Oh.
It's called Black Cat.
Why do you have a different...
We change it a little more frequently, and this is our third one in Chicago. When he puts out a new record, we find a song.
Nice.
But in New York, they really like this one
because there's like a little chant sort of.
Right.
There's a clap and a woo.
Yes, there is. There's a clap and a woo.
And then did that happen organically?
It did, yeah.
That's so funny.
Uh-huh.
I wonder if they do that at Ike Reilly concerts.
They do not. I go a lot. They never have.
Do you ever do it by yourself? You're like, woo, woo. This is where you do it.
Not that I'm going to admit to. No, I don't believe I ever have gone clap, clap, woo.
Okay. How do you guys hook up with Ike Reilly? He's a Chicago guy, I guess.
He's a Chicago guy. He lived across the hall from me in Rome in 1982.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Just by... What were you guys doing in Rome?
My roommate was Joel Murray, and we were going to school over there. And none of us knew each other. And that just happened.
Wow. So you guys were all going to school. Ike Reilly was going to school as well?
Correct.
Oh, no kidding. Okay. What school?
That was the Loyola program. Reilly was coming from Marquette, and I was coming from Loyola Chicago. Joel was coming from NIU. And yeah, none of us knew each other. And so Reilly played rugby with Finn and Farley.
Yeah, Pat Finn and Chris Farley.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's such a small world. Mm-hmm. It's really small.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy, isn't it?
It's like a Chicago and Rome world. That's so...
As my grandmother used to say, it's a small world, better behave.
And you have. I'm proud of you.
I have at every instant.
How long did you spend in Rome?
I was there for a year for school.
Wow.
And then I went. I like it there.
You're Italian.
Of Italian descent. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Did you like it there? Did you know? Have you ever been there before? Did you know the?
I'd never been to Rome. I'd been to northern Italy.
Okay.
I have relatives up there. I'd never been to Rome. Just loved it, and I've been back a lot since.
I went there once, just for like 2 days, and I got to go to the Colosseum and stuff. It was a beautiful city.
It's pretty great. Yeah.
Would you want to live there?
So when my kids were little, we did. We went back and put them in school there for a half a year, and yeah, I like it there a lot.
Did you do that just to give the kids some culture
and also,
stuff?
yeah, I'll say that. I'll say it was to give the kids an opportunity. But we just really like it there, and they like it too. They'd been on vacation there, and they liked it, and so we just decided to. And we'd been trying to get over there. My wife and I, been trying to get over there to try a year there or whatever, and that's a harder thing. But a half year, we just decided let's do it. We went over for 5 months.
Do all you guys know Italian?
Yes.
Okay.
My kids not as much then, and it was a school that their school, the classes were in English, but the playground was Italian. It was about 3/4 Italian.
Oh, okay. So they probably picked up some stuff.
A lot,
I bet.
Yeah. And then since then, my other son, that was it. They were in grade school. He went over and did a semester there for college.
Oh, okay. So he really liked it. Well, how old are your kids now?
24, and by the time this comes out,
Yeah.
27 and 25.
How many kids do you have?
2, 27 and 25.
Okay, 27 and 25. I got 3 ages. So I was like...
Yeah, no, right. I was going to say 26 and 24, but by the time, in January, they'll be 27 and 25.
Oh, okay. Are they, what do they do? What do they like?
The oldest one lives in Chicago. He's a musician, does electronic stuff as well. He's an engineer, too, and producer. Okay. And the younger one lives out in San Francisco, works for a software company. He's a product manager.
No, any improv interests?
None.
Wow. Does that disappoint you, or are they disappointments, too?
Oh, they're great disappointments, not merely for that. No, they're both pretty darn funny.
Yeah.
Giancarlo, the musician's kind of undaunted performer. He's really comfortable. And the other one's really, really funny.
And just no interest in performing that way, comedy.
No, right. And the younger one did an internship at Colbert, at the old Colbert show.
Yeah.
And he loved it. He really loved it. But I don't think he ever has any interest in performing. I don't know.
Interesting. Interesting. They must have seen you perform a bunch of times.
They did. I remember they used to come to the early TJ and Dave shows. Do you remember the long time ago, there was at the edge of the stage at I.O., there was that like VIP booth, basically. It was stage right.
Oh, upstairs or downstairs?
Downstairs. It was stage right. There was like an alcove, and there was a couch in there. Basically on stage almost.
No. That's before my time.
And they used to sit there, and I remember looking over and seeing them, and instead of looking at us, they would be peeking out of this thing and looking out at the audience, and then looking at each, and just trying to figure out, why is anyone laughing?
That's not funny.
Right. It's just Dad.
And his goofy friend. That's so funny. Oh, wow.
No, they always understood why they were laughing at TJ.
Oh, okay. They like TJ. Well, TJ's pretty great. So how did you meet your wife? Yes,
Yeah, we met actually because of Joel, actually. I was in New York at a wedding of a friend of mine from Rome, actually.
Wow.
I came to New York, and then I spent the night. Joel set me up with his brother, Andy, and that I could stay at their apartment. So I met up with Andy, and I went out with him and his, at the time, girlfriend, and we spent the night, the evening running around, and then I went and spent the night at the apartment thing. And that woman, whose name is Liz, the next week I was working at Second City, I was just walking through the theater, and Liz says, "Hey!" And she was sitting there with my wife. They were taking clients out. They both worked in advertising, and that was the first time I met her.
Okay. Was it sparks right away?
You know what? Kind of, yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
And did you ask her out right away, or?
Kind of. I think I probably did. I have. Yep. Soon thereafter, I asked her out.
Okay.
I ended up sitting down and talking to her for a minute, and asking her out later. And then, not too long after that, after only a few months of us dating, she moved to New York, and so we kept that up. And then I ended up working at Atlantic City for a summer at a casino, doing a show down there. And I'd come up from there on my day off, and then we ended up getting married, and she still lived in New York, and I lived in Chicago when we first got married.
Oh, really? That must be a little rough.
Oh, it was great. Yeah, I'll tell you. I highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. Yeah, about 1,000 miles between you. That's excellent.
Well, I did that with Deborah, my girlfriend, for 3 years. She was in Los Angeles, and I was in Chicago.
That's even further.
That
sounds like even better.
It was perfect. It worked out perfectly. All those tears were wonderful tears.
Yeah. So later on, so now then many years later, we're married, and we've been married for a long time. And I was working out of town, and she's like, "You're gone all the time. You never come. You never." So I was able to finagle a trip home for a weekend. And I get home, and she says, "Yeah. You know what? Turns out I like the idea of you, but the actual you is a bit much."
She said that?
Yeah, well, yeah. Yes.
That sounds like breakup words.
It's pretty great. No, it was pretty great. I thought it was pretty funny. Right.
Because now you're like...
Yeah, now you're actually here.
Now you're here.
Yeah, right.
We're like Deborah and I...
Why don't you get out of here?
Yeah, we had that... we met in L.A. We were together in L.A. for 6-7 months, almost every day. And then I moved to Chicago. We were going to split off, but we ended up staying together. And then after 3 years, she's like, "So what's the deal here?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's a good question."
Yeah.
And I was like, "All right, I guess I'll move back." We moved in together.
Out in Los Angeles.
Out in Los Angeles.
I remember when you moved.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, same thing. It's like, okay, now we're in each other's spaces all the time.
Which we're not used to.
Which we're not used to. And we're both kind of set in our ways in a way, you know. And that was a transition. Was there a transition when you guys finally got together permanently?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Also, I'm not a pleasant person to be around.
Well, I don't find that at all. Well, what am I missing?
Stick around for a while.
Okay. Why'd you say that? What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, she was working a day job. I was working a night job. So we had a lot of that.
Scheduling.
Yeah, just all that. Just different lives. Mm-hmm.
Are you hard to live with, though? Or are you like...
I'm pretty...
leave my socks on the floor and I like it. Something like that.
Exactly.
Give or take.
I do leave my socks on the floor, and I do like it. I put those there because I want them there.
I see them. I put them there. I know what's going on.
No, I don't know how. Am I difficult to get along? Yeah, I'm a dick.
Are you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Even to your wife?
No, really. She won't. Yeah, she won't. She won't put up with it.
Yeah. Well, thank you for not being a dick to me.
Well,
I appreciate that.
It's early.
It is early. I'll wait till later. I'll catch you in the sweet spot.
Yeah, right. Just woke up, not quite. I just had my coffee.
Yeah.
I just went down the street to get coffee. You saw how long it took me to get that cup of coffee. I went for a cup of coffee. It's not far. It was not travel time.
Right.
The people, man, a lot of people forget that they're making a cup of coffee. They think they're brewing some concoction that is going to save the planet.
Right.
And it's really good. I understand. I love coffee. But come on, folks. You don't really have to measure it to the 100th of a gram. You don't have to measure the water to 100th of a gram. It's espresso.
Do you say this to them? Because that's a dick move.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I wouldn't. No, but I think that. I guess that's the difference. I've gotten a little better. I don't say it out loud. Although I have said when somebody's made me a terrible cup of coffee, like some espresso drink or something, and they hand it to me and I taste it and it's undrinkable and I hand it back and they say, "Oh, do you want me to make you another one?" And I have said, "Oh, God, no. I don't want you to ever do this again."
You should quit right now. You throw it in their face. That's a real dick
That's
move.
a dick. Yeah.
That's
yeah,
some
scald
hardcore.
them. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not that. That's out of my league. One day.
So
One day
the
I'll
right
make
day.
it.
The right day. And you're born and raised Chicago?
I was born up in 30 miles north, but I've been in and about Old Town for 30 plus years.
Okay. And siblings?
2 older brothers. One is up in the town I grew up in, and one is out in San Francisco.
Any performers in your family?
Nope. Well, my oldest brother's a trial lawyer.
Okay, I guess that's performance type thing.
Actually, because of him, I ended up in improvisation.
Is that true?
Yeah, he went and took a couple improv classes so that he could, just be more comfortable. And my mom made me go with him.
Why did she make you?
She thought I would enjoy it and I'd be good at it, and I was not doing anything. You got to
Do something.
do something.
Get off.
I was
your
in
butt.
school. I was
Right.
in college, but
Oh wow, that's interesting. Your mom's like, I think you'd be good at it. Go do something. Oh, that's good. All right. Parents are good for something,
yeah, right.
right?
Yeah. Parents are good for something.
Once in a while. What'd your parents do growing up?
My mom helped. My dad had a small law firm. He was a lawyer, and he had his own practice. And my mom helped out with that, and as well as raised us.
Okay. They still around, your parents?
They are not, neither.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did they get to see you perform a lot?
They did, yeah. Yep. They
get a kick out of it? Your mom's like, I told you.
they were not sure at the beginning because and it was just out of concern, right? Like that they're not going to make any money or anything. And my dad. I remember him telling me, I remember seeing you on stage once and thinking, okay, you know what? Okay, he's doing what he's supposed to be doing. And I go, oh, do you remember when that was? He goes, oh yeah. And he told me what it was. I'm like, I've been doing it for a long time. It took him that long to okay, all right.
Well, that's scary. I mean, especially when you have parents that aren't creative types.
Right.
They're more, security and
practical. Yeah,
practical.
right. As my dad said, you can be the worst lawyer in the country and make a great living.
Right.
You can be the best actor in the country and starve to death.
Yeah. Or improviser.
Yeah, right. Even worse.
Even worse, right? People still improv is still kind of under the radar. It's gotten better.
Way more. I mean, Noah used to say that it was a guaranteed dead end. Absolutely. That is the best case scenario. And so it attracted a certain personality,
right?
Which that's my people.
Mine too. That's hilarious. Well, yeah, he's right. I mean, maybe best case you're a teacher.
Yeah, right.
Right back then.
Mm-hmm.
But now, I mean, Saturday Night Live kind of changed that, don't you think? No. Or is it a contributor to that?
Yeah, I think so. Right, and people, who it was? I think it was Seth Meyer when he was head writer. He used to insist that those people came and looked at I.O.
Yeah, that's good.
And that changed it. I think that they always used to just go to Second City, but then they started going to I.O. and
right and before that Groundlings,
right,
and then before that stand-up comedians.
Always right. They would always do stand-up.
Yeah, like the Dana Carvey age, that was like all stand-up comedians, except maybe Mike Myers was second.
Well, Dana Hartman and Lovitz were also Groundlings guys.
Right. Do you watch SNL?
I not often.
Not often. Did you ever audition?
Did I audition? Yeah. I was in the cast with Farley and Meadows, and when they came to
Second
check
City.
everybody out. Mm-hmm.
And they, I guess Farley and Meadows got hired.
And I was actually doing a play and I couldn't head out.
Oh, they were interested in you seeing you again, and you were like, sorry guys, doing a play. Doing real acting.
That was my first play.
Was it really?
Mm-hmm.
What was your play?
It was Chicago Conspiracy Trial at Remains Theater.
It's my favorite. No, I don't know it.
It was written using only the excerpts from the actual trial.
Oh, interesting.
It was really fun. And it was with Del. Del was David Dellinger. I was Abby Hoffman. It was really fun.
Oh, no kidding. Mm-hmm. How'd you like Del Close?
I really thought the world of him, and he was a dick.
Yeah.
He was just really wonderful to me.
Yeah.
And he was a dick.
Yeah. And that's how. But did you learn a lot from him?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
more than I will remember.
Yeah.
He was just great as a teacher and stuff. But he was a dick to my kids. I go, what the fuck? But he was just really great. Wonderful. An interesting thing, though, the friend of mine, Chris Barnes, who was in part of it was Barnes and Joel and Beltzman and JJ and Howard Johnson. That was we were part of the first group that when Del was trying to codify the Herald to be a performance piece. So Barnes later on was teaching the Herald, and Del came to one of his classes when he was teaching, and Del said to Barnes, that's interesting, you're teaching this from an actor's perspective. Del had never performed the Herald. He came up with it, never performed it.
Oh, that's interesting.
He'd only been, the kind of designer and director of it, but never saw it from the inside. I don't know if
Did that ever change? Did he ever?
Never. No, he stopped. I never saw him really improvise. Ever saw him. He didn't do that. He'd do stand-up, and
right.
Which was partially prepared, but that's how he used to open the shows at the beginning, by getting up and doing stand-up.
How was the stand-up?
It was great. It was
Really?
It was great. He would just talk about something that he was either thinking about or some current event, and then he'd riff on that. It was pretty interesting.
Really?
Yeah.
But he used to improvise, right? Didn't he?
Oh, sure. He was a Second City guy. Second City, Compass Players. Mm-hmm.
And then he kind of stopped doing that. Did you ever think about... did you ever teach?
Yes, I used to teach, and then even more recently I have. And then when TJ and I are on the road, we'll do workshops and things.
Oh, you will?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's cool. Did you ever think of maybe I'll focus more on teaching, or did you... just like a...
Yeah, I'm not too... I don't think I'm very good at it.
Were you a dick?
I am. It's like... to all students out there, the reason you're in that class, ostensibly, is because you want the information that teacher has.
Right. Right.
So there's a relationship there.
Yeah.
One's a teacher, one's a student.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
I think time would be better spent not arguing with the teacher and defending your own position.
They want to be right.
They want to be right. And that's one of the things that Del taught us. Like, he was not real kind. And so you learned right away, don't ever argue with your position. Like, oh, yes, yeah, but I was, oh, no, I know what you were doing. Don't do that,
mm-hmm.
right? Like, oh, but I was, that's clear.
I got it. Well, Del must have really loved you, because he got put in charge of the main stage show, and then he said, I want to get rid of everybody that's on the current main stage show and bring in my own guys.
Not entirely true.
Okay.
Joel was already in the company.
Okay.
And I was already in the company.
Okay, I'm just kidding.
And then Bernie was directing the new show, and Bernie quit. He just decided he's not going to do anymore. Okay. Bernie Salins, the founder of Second City, decided he's had enough. Finally, after all those years, he's not.
Stupid kids.
Right. So he decided to step down, and when he stepped down, Joel and I went into Joyce's office and said, "Hey, there's an availability. Why don't you see about bringing Del down?" And she did. And when Del came down, some people then said, "It's also time for me to move on," and as well as Del saying, I'll come down, but I'd like to bring in some of my own folks.
Right.
And so the people who were already there, who stayed, was Joe Liss, me, Joel, and Holly Wartell.
Mm-hmm.
And who came in. And I'm not sure if Judy Scott, I think Del brought her in, as well as Tim Meadows and Chris Farley. who were also employees already. They were in touring companies and stuff like that.
Okay. When did Odenkirk? Were you there for Odenkirk?
I was. That was later. That was after Joel left.
Okay.
And that was Tom Giannis was a director.
Okay. And what was that? What was that show like? Did you guys click really well? And
Odenkirk?
yeah. Well, you and Farley and Meadows.
Oh, that show, the Dell show. Yeah, absolutely. We all got along famously.
What was the name of your review? Do you remember?
Yeah, The Gods Must Be Lazy. Mm-hmm.
Which you won an award for, I believe. In my research, you said you won an award for that, correct?
I did. I won one of those Joseph Jefferson Awards.
That's right. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
What was Farley like? Was he, because you probably did you know him already a little bit?
Look, just a little bit. Because, he came in after me, so I didn't really know those guys all that much. Like, they just because we were in different circles. He was great. He was great. He was a hoot. And Meadows, I knew Meadows better.
Okay.
Tim and I we knew each other pretty well. We had I used to almost live at his place. He had a place with Richard Label, and I was just there constantly. So, it was great. We had a great time, and I really liked that show. And the whole cast got along.
Yeah.
Dell was not kind to the ladies.
He's known for not being kind to ladies. Is that true?
I think so. Yeah. I'm not a lady, so I did not experience that, but I, witnessed it.
Yeah, and what
just
ways?
Exclusion, just excluding them or dismissive,
Yeah.
But it's like.
Was he ever married?
I'm not positive about that.
Oh, interesting.
Who knows?
It's a mystery, that guy.
Yeah, Howard Johnson knows. He has a kid. There's a
Dell
son.
has a kid.
There's a son somewhere. Yeah, I don't think I've ever met him.
Well, it's interesting that Dell has a problem with women, but he partnered with a very strong woman and trying to help her.
Yeah, and he was always good to my wife, and there was I don't know what it was. Who knows? I don't know.
Did your wife ever improvise?
No, she's never performed, but she's a writer. She wrote currently has a book called Rome with Kids: A Travel Guide to an Insider's Guide to Rome.
Oh wow, you guys are all about Rome.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. Did you even do a movie with Woody Allen?
I did.
That's Rome.
To Rome with Love.
To Rome with Love.
Mm-hmm. And also I was over there and shot Angels and Demons.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I like that movie a lot.
And just yesterday, a guy, Lenny Ciotti, was who lives here in New York now. He and I shot a sitcom over there.
In Rome?
It was out of Rome. The production company's out of Rome. We actually went down to Puglia to shoot it, but it was when I was living there.
What was it? What happened to the sitcom?
I don't think it ever.
That's all I did.
I don't think so. Yeah,
was it in English or?
It was in English, and I don't know why.
Was it supposed to be an American sitcom or?
No, it was an Italian sitcom.
Oh, an Italian sitcom.
But it's kind of
in English.
In English, but like it was kind of a. I don't know. Could not. And it's a kind of thing that I don't know that I would have done it in any other situation, but over there, like, absolutely, I'm doing this.
Sure.
It was really fun.
Free room and board in Rome, and you got to mess around and stuff.
Yeah, it was really fun. It was a great group too. It was Lenny and Vittorio Cucchi and Roberto Madison. It was really fun.
So when did you decide you wanted to be an actor?
I went to that class with my brother, that improv class, and my teacher was Judy Morgan, and that was Players Workshop Second City, which was run by Josephine Forsberg, and that was kind of the only game in town at the time. And mostly, it wasn't people who were interested in being professional. It was people who were doing, like my brother.
Yeah.
People who wanted to take some improv classes to get more, to become more.
For like every reason but being an actor.
Exactly, right. There was a lot of ad people there for creativity.
Yeah.
And And back then there was theater sports that Sharna was doing at that time, and the teams were the all cop team, the all plumbers team, you know, and they would go against each other doing theater games.
Right.
And so it wasn't really ever an option. Growing up, it was never an option. I'd never set foot on a stage in high school or grade school or anything like that.
Yeah.
It was just never.
Me too.
There's not something that, in our family, it was not something that was ever a possibility.
Yeah, me too. I was really shy as a kid.
Yeah. So there's just, so went to Catholic school, and my mom went in, I guess it was first or second grade, to the parent-teacher conference with the nun. And the nun says, he just sits there so quietly, and we can't ever get him to, he's just so shy. He's silent. And my mom just started laughing, and she goes, oh, I've heard of this happening. I'm David's mother. And the nun goes, oh yeah, I know who you are. She couldn't imagine that I was
So you were just
quiet.
Oh, okay, because at home,
At
you're
home,
like,
right, absolutely.
you're a dick. And whatever.
Right, yes, from toddler age.
But why do you think you were so quiet in school? Did you get bullied or anything?
No,
or?
I didn't. I just was not out. Takes me a while to get to know people, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and not till I was working, and even after I took those classes, I finished those classes. It was a series of classes, and the last one was you do your own little show at on Second City's main stage on a Sunday afternoon. Right. That was the deal, and that was really cool.
Yeah.
And then I went back to studying philosophy in college, and was going to go to law school.
Oh, really?
Yep.
You were going to follow the path of your brother?
Oh, yeah. It was never an option. Never considered
Wow.
it. And then I went to Rome and met Joel Murray.
Right. Whose brother is Bill Murray,
right. And
one of the biggest comedians.
Right. And his brother is Brian Doyle Murray, who wrote Caddyshack, and it was just amazing folks. And I got to meet them because of Joel, and they were really kind. And then received the benefit of advice from Bill to Joel. Look, if you want to do this, that Dell guy is starting to teach. This is after he hooked up. He went into business with Sharna, and they started what is now I.O. And
back then, was it in like just a room, or
it was in a place called Cross Currents, which was at Wilton and Belmont, which is now a parking lot for the L stop there. But it was a performance space called Cross Currents, and upstairs is where we had our classes, and downstairs there was a cabaret theater, and Tom Goodman was the guy who owned it, and he was great. He was willing to have cool shit in there.
Yeah.
And
I mean, back then it's more experimental, right?
Absolutely, right.
Nobody's familiar really with this.
Nobody knows what. And I remember my dad coming to see an early Harold, and he goes, "Now I understand why you're doing it, but why do people come and see it?"
Thanks for the support.
Right, but it was a valid question. Like, right, unless because nobody knows what they're looking at even.
Well, what kind of audiences were you getting? Were you other students, or just
some other students, and people who knew Dell. There were some people who knew who this Del Close guy was, and they wanted to see what he was doing. And then it took a while, and then there was this competitive aspect to it that Sharna brought over from theater sports, right? Which was this team against that team,
cage match style,
and so she brought that to it, and so there was some people that enjoyed that part of it. So they vote on who won the evening, which is
that's so funny. And was this Barron's Barracudas?
This was Barron's Barracudas. Yeah,
that was the very first Harold team. Right?
It was one of the first Harold teams. Yeah, there was a few at the beginning. And then the other ones kind of fell apart.
Okay.
And I wasn't on Barron's at the very beginning. And then our team was I was on the all stand-up team.
What does that mean?
There was basically Joey Gutierrez, Jeff Jenna, me, because I used to do stand-up.
Oh.
And
So everybody did stand up.
Yeah, and it was, of course, not as good because stand up is a different mindset.
Yeah.
And then that team ended up falling apart, and then I made it over to Barron's, and that was it.
What kind of stuff would you talk about in your stand up?
The difference between Ovid's Metamorphosis and the Book of Genesis.
So relatable stuff.
Relatable.
Observational. That's funny.
Yeah, I used to read the beginning of Genesis and the beginning of Ovid, the creation, and it's exactly the same story. And I'm like, yeah, but one of it is a stupid little poem, and one is the Word of God, so you can see the difference. I mean, it's almost the same order of, light to dark. All this, anyway.
Oh, I was laughing.
Where were you then? They would stare. Fuck, was it quiet?
That is a very humbling experience,
Right.
isn't it?
And then my folks would come to see that, and that's what gave them pause, right? Like,
Right.
this is terrible. He's in the wrong business.
Lawyer! Yelling for the audience.
Right.
Lawyer, be a lawyer! Oh,
Right, not get off the stage. Go to law school. Right.
Oh my God! How long did you do stand up for?
I did stand up for a while. That was kind of my paying gig while I was improvising.
You got paid?
Yeah, I was a house.
Wow.
I was like an MC at the Chicago Comedy Showcase. It was really a great place. It was a great place. I was never I was okay.
Right.
I was never very good. But I could, I was an MC, so I didn't.
Did you do stand up? What was like the point? Did you think of doing stand up for it? Was it like part of your acting or part of?
It was
something
to
else?
become comfortable on stage
yeah.
to be a better improviser.
Yeah, that's why I did stand up too.
I'm not good at it. I wish I could be good at it. The stand-ups I had fucking emo. Dave Cross. Galifianakis. These guys are just fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And I admire it so much. Dwayne Kennedy. These phenomenal folks. Interesting, smart, and the way they can command a room is ridiculous.
Yeah, Emo's still doing it.
He is. He's wonderful.
I think I met him once at I.O. because he's married
Kipley.
to Kipley, who does stuff
And-
at I.O. West.
Emo is improvising now.
Is he? What's he doing?
He does two-person stuff. He did one. He actually, I was out of town, but my son went and saw him with Susan Messing.
Oh.
And he was out in L.A. I've seen it in notifications that he's doing a two-man thing with somebody else.
Get out. I'd like to see that. Now with TJ and Dave, sometimes one of you can't be there, so you'll have somebody fill in.
Right.
Or sometimes you'll even play with a third. Is
Correct.
That right? Sometimes?
Do you know what's going to happen this evening? Do you know what you're going to see tonight? All that I'll leave it a surprise.
Dave Pasquesi, when am I going to see?
I will leave it as a surprise.
What am I going to see?
You're going to see
Emo
You're
Phillips?
going to see an extra person tonight.
Ooh, that's interesting. All right. Because in the past, we've had Tracy Letts, great playwright, actor, who's on that Divorce show on HBO.
He is.
He's also been on Homeland and all sorts of stuff. And you've had Michael Shannon, which I've never gotten to see. Michael Shannon, who played General Zod in Man of Steel.
So Tracy and Mike Shannon were in a group called Bang Bang.
They were in an
Chicago.
improv group?
Yes, but they were doing improvisation. I never saw it. It was at a time when I was on main stage, so I didn't have any nights off to go see stuff. But apparently there was a group of them, I believe Paul Dillon, and I'm not sure who else was on there.
Okay.
And maybe Bob Fisher, I don't know. But they would do dramatic improvisation without any intention of having any comedy in it. So
Right.
it's they're nut jobs, every one of them. And they would get up and do it just apparently. And I've heard that some people say that it was their favorite thing they'd ever seen improvised.
Interesting.
So they have experience. It's not like Tracy or Mike are just coming on and they have experience improvising.
When it's so serious, do people laugh anyway?
I don't know. I don't know what they were doing, and I don't know if they were laughing. Because the thing is, TJ and I don't view this as comedy.
Right.
You know, it's there's a lot of it that's funny, but there's just like, you know, there's some sad shit going on.
Yeah.
And some people laugh at that too.
Yeah.
Right. So.
Well, I like that. I like touching moments and
sure.
Heartfelt.
Yeah, and sometimes when TJ and I do it, we don't, as he says, we don't promise comedy.
Right.
All we're promising is that it's unprepared.
That we're making it up.
Yeah, that's it. That's the only
promise up front. We're
that's
making
it.
this up as we go.
Right, and you know, there probably will be some funny moments to it, but some of those things, you know, over the course of however long we've done it, some of them were creepy as fuck. You know? Like there's horrible shit happening.
I used to watch a show at Iowa West with Scott Adsit and Sarah G, and they were doing some like dark stuff. It was really interesting. But people would leave going, I don't know what I just saw. And I was like, that was interesting.
Yeah, right.
That was interesting. I love those guys. When you're on stage, is it hard to keep a straight face with TJ?
Yeah, a lot of times it is. But sometimes, you know, people throughout the day, like we've been sitting here, we've been laughing.
Yeah.
People do that, so it's all right.
And I noticed with your guys' style, you're not afraid to like turn your back to the audience or anything like that, or you know what I mean?
Right. If that's the geography of the room, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So we play to what we believe is the truth of this moment, and the truth is, in this moment, there aren't 200 people back there.
Right.
So we don't have to consider that.
Right. Even like the other night, the first night, you guys were almost whispering to each other. You know, you were talking real low, and I'm like, oh, even I was like third, fourth row, and I was like, I barely hear them, but in the back, I'm like, but you guys don't follow those rules of like theater per se.
No, we don't worry about stage picture, and if we're whispering, it's probably because it's not important that everybody hear.
Right.
I don't know. Either that or we're just terrible at this business.
Lawyer. Be a lawyer. But I mean, you've had some great successes as an actor, not just as an improviser, because I would probably argue that you guys are the most successful duo in improv. I don't know who else can do what you guys do for so long and so regularly, and then sell out town hall, or not sell out, but sell
not
out.
Sell out. Although in March,
You're doing it in March?
Yes, in March.
Maybe I could come. I'll do what I can.
I'll give you the date.
I'll do what I can to sell out. You can, he's gonna get me the date.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I wanted to ask you about projects you've done. You've worked with Harold Ramis a bunch.
I have.
The late great Harold Ramis.
The late great
right.
Harold Ramis, the best.
Did you meet him at Second City?
No, I actually we did. We had a great friendship. He was a wonderful guy to me. And, we met actually because maybe we had met once before, but I auditioned for Groundhog Day. I went and worked on Groundhog Day. I spent some time with him then, and then I went and I I looked him up in Los Angeles, and we would go out to lunch.
Oh, you just contacted him? Oh, that's cool.
And we would go out to lunch, and he was wonderful. And maybe that was after I did a second film with him, but I did these little bits in his movies, and
I love the Groundhog's Day scene. It's so funny.
And he would introduce me as David and I have done 4 films together.
I mean, he's right.
He was just the sweetest. I don't know if I've met anyone smarter.
Really?
Yeah, just really kind, really smart.
Oh.
He was just wonderful, absolutely wonderful.
I get to meet him.
His kids are great, and his wife is lovely. Yeah.
Do you look back, because like as an improviser and as an actor, we meet tons of people. There's a lot of turnover, you know, like classes, students, teachers, performers, you name it. And then you sadly over time you end up losing some of these people. Is that rough for you? Do you think about that sometimes? Of like, oh man, I lost another one, and usually too soon, especially like Chris Farley or Harold Ramis or something like that.
Yeah, it's a and there's envy.
I didn't think of that.
Yeah, there's absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I didn't even think of that. But I did. Well, your first credit on IMDb is Light of Day.
Wow. Okay.
Right.
All right.
Do you know that?
I did not know that, but yes, absolutely. That was that like and okay. All of a sudden, I show up at class one day. I'm doing this is Harold's and stuff like that. Del was in that movie.
Oh, he was, okay.
And I could, it was back then they used to have satin jackets for productions and things.
Okay.
I couldn't afford. Del had them make me the satin jacket with my name on it. He gave that to me.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
What's the satin jacket for?
It used to have costume. It says Light of Day on the back of it. It's like
I
an old
like a crew
exactly.
Stuff. Oh, I see.
Yeah, but they were nicer ones, and they weren't gifts. You could get one. You could have one made. And I couldn't afford it, and I didn't even ask for it. But Del had one and gave it to me.
Do you still have it?
I probably do.
Wow, that would be amazing.
Yeah, but right. So
I'm a big Michael J. Fox fan from like birth, practically, and so I remember
from the TV show.
From the TV show Back to the Future, but the TV show came first.
So on that movie, I got to meet Michael McKean.
Love him.
I love him too. He's just wonderful. I got to meet Michael McKean, and then Joel ended up doing a show with him later, Grand. And Michael McKean's I actually got to spend time, and that's the thing is you look at this like I do look at it this way. I get to spend time with these people. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah,
it's just great
because like people you admire, you grew up with, and
they're worthy of admiration. You know, like people like that.
I feel the same right now with you. Okay, all right. I met Michael McKean once when I was like 4 or something. My mom was friends with his sister, and somehow we got to go watch a rehearsal of Laverne and Shirley.
Oh, wow.
No audience. They're doing a run-through or something, and I think Penny Marshall was not there, or the other woman was not there. One of them was not there. But afterwards, McKean and Squiggy,
who were part of a comedy group. They were a comedy group together up in San Francisco. Forget the name of it.
I didn't know that. They were in full costume, and they came over to say hi, and Squiggy put his finger in my belly button. That's like my first memory.
David.
I don't remember.
David Lamb.
You probably look that up. Squiggy, come on my podcast, Squiggy. I'll know your name by then. But really great guy. And now Odenkirk and McKean work together on Better Call Saul. How funny is that?
Odenkirk came in right. It was he's a good dude.
Yeah, Odenkirk. He seems like a good dude. Did you get to meet Michael J. Fox?
Yeah.
Yeah? Was that cool?
And Joan Jett.
Joan Jett. How great was Joan Jett?
She's great.
Well, I'm going to go through some stuff. If you have any memories of anything, let me know. Okay? I might just ask. Well, you worked with Tracy Letts a lot.
Yeah. We met on the show at Steppenwolf, Glengarry Glen Ross. That's where we met.
It's a great show.
It's a great show, and it was directed by Amy Morton. It was wonderful. It was really a great group. Everybody. It was a great group.
Do you do a lot of obviously you do improv, but do you do a lot of plays as well? Do you prefer that?
I like it all. No, I don't prefer it. I like them differently, but it's a lot more work.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
Did you guys ever think of doing TJ and Dave on Broadway?
No, I think it'd be hard. You got to do eight shows a week, and The longest I think the most we ever did was 10 in a row, 10 nights in a row. And I like it on Broadway. You got to do 2 a day, and it's just it would get.
It's exhausting a little bit.
Not just exhausting, but it's like I think the shows would be uninteresting because you'd be kind of doing, you kind of run out of stuff.
Is that because it's made up? Because you do a play, you do
right.
shows.
It's because it's made up, right? Like you kind of run out of source material,
right,
to explore. I think.
Let's just do Monday show.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's what I think would be the danger. Is like we'll try. Things start to blend together. Like, oh, this is kind of like that one we just did.
Yeah. Has that happened sometimes?
The thing is, since we do it generally just once a week, we don't get that.
Do you does it, when you have like a third, or TJ's out of town or something, you have a new person, do you go, oh great, I get to play with this person?
Sometimes, yeah. But also included in that is like, oh bummer, because I really enjoy working with TJ.
Yeah.
But yeah, I absolutely. There's a lot of the folks that were in the cast of the sketch review that we did at the Mission, and we've worked with pretty much all of them, and they're fun. It's great. It's really fun. Yeah. Sue Gillen I do it with a lot. Mm-hmm. Dassey I did it with once, and Tim Baltz one time, and it's fun to. It's not for everyone is the thing.
Not your style.
Yeah, right. It's not everyone else's style fits it well.
Yeah. Does it become another type of show when somebody else is doing it?
It can, yeah, right. Oh, right. It's absolute. Yeah, it's absolutely not the same thing. And then also there's that part of it, discovering as it's going what this is. Yeah. Right. Rather than just what this particular show that I'm doing with TJ is, but when it's with someone else, what is this kind of show? So it's a new question.
And even today, you're going to go see some theater before your show.
I am.
What are you seeing today?
A Band's Visit, directed by Cromer and music by David Yazbek.
I don't know this show. And you're seeing one tomorrow as well?
No.
Oh, I thought you were seeing something. Yesterday. Did you see something yesterday? No. Okay, never mind.
What did I do yesterday?
I thought you were seeing another show yesterday, a matinee or something.
No, I just had to meet somebody.
Okay. Beep boop. Great. And Father of the Bride.
Father of the Bride.
We had a great scene in there with the great Steve Martin.
And the great Martin Short, yeah. And that was part of that audition, was to go in and see if Martin Short and I could do gibberish of the same language.
Right. That's hilarious. What a weird audition.
It was great. It was really fun. He was great. So nice. Both of those guys, so nice to me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that would work. And so while I'm working on that, it was at a lot out in Los Angeles, the Radford, right? Mm-hmm. And I'd show up to work at like 6 a.m, and at about 10 o'clock, Joel would roll in. He was shooting a TV show. Literally, no. This was Pacific Station. Was the name of it, with Dick Libertini and Robert Guillaume.
Okay, Robert Guillaume.
And I was on one stage. He was literally 10 feet away on the next stage over. And I'd get there at 6 a.m. and stay till like 10 at night. And he would show up at about 10 in the afternoon and be gone by 2 in the afternoon. It was really great. It was a hoot. That was a blast.
Oh, that's so sweet. I love Steve Martin. He's a favorite. Mm-hmm. And it's funny, Steve Martin and Martin Short, they're like touring now. You know
yes,
that?
I saw.
Funny?
Yeah, I would love to see that.
Me too. Actually, at Town Hall, I'm going to see Steve Martin do and Edie Brickell at Town Hall.
Nice.
In a couple weeks, I'm going to see them. So you've done a lot of TV, like Dear John, Dream On. Remember that show, Dream On?
I do remember Dream On.
That was an underrated show. That was
liked it too.
Original
Brian
programming.
Ben.
Yep. Who else was in that? That woman, the blonde woman. There's some good shows. You did Natural Born Killers?
I did.
What was that like? No good.
It was not as what I had hoped it was going to. So I ended up getting the job like auditioning for Oliver Stone, and he's like, "Oh, I got something interesting to do," and it turned out not to be that. And a lot of times I'd show up that day, and I'd walk out onto the stage, and he'd say, "Pasquesi, what are you doing here?" No, you're not in this scene.
Why didn't he just call you Dave? Yeah, I don't know. Call you Pasquesi.
I don't mind being called Pasquesi, I have to say. But yeah.
But you screwed up your name, right? Mm-hmm. That's so funny. Was he like he has there's rumors of him being like sort of a tyrant.
It was weird. It was odd, but he was not unkind.
Okay. Did you get to work with Woody or Robert Downey Jr.?
Yeah, I was part of Robert Downey Jr.'s production crew. He played a documentary guy, and I was part of that crew.
An Australian documentary guy.
Right.
What was he like? He seems like a cool guy. He's sort of an improviser, sort of. He did Second City Saturday Night Live for a year.
Oh, that's right, yeah. I didn't have all that much interaction with him. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You didn't say, like, someday you should be Iron Man. You didn't say anything like that to him? Changed his life?
I may have. I may have. I don't know. I can't say that. I can't say for certain I didn't say that.
It's been a long time. You worked with Keanu Reeves a couple times, or at least he did a couple of his movies. Chain Reaction, right? What was the other one? I forget. I wrote it down.
Chain Reaction was Andy Davis. That I had done The Fugitive with him, the director.
Okay.
And that was the job from him.
The Fugitive, I love that movie.
Wendy Malick was the woman on Dream On that I was thinking of.
Thank you for looking that up. Mm-hmm. She's great. So Keanu, did you get to work with Keanu Reeves or Morgan Freeman or any of these guys?
Morgan Freeman I met. I did work, it was something that I don't even know that the scene made it in, but we were down in Hyde Park. I just didn't spend a lot of time with him. Very nice man.
Yeah, I love him.
And Kevin Dunn was actually on Chain Reaction too.
Yeah. Are you guys going to do more of? I already forgot the name of it, but the one where it's the play and you just go into the scene with a weird desk.
Stolen House.
Stolen House.
I don't know that I don't know. We've been talking about it. I don't know if we will or not.
That wasn't videotaped by any chance.
No, we did them right. We did 4 of them in Chicago, and then we did 2 and 2 out here. We did 2 at the Barrow Street it was a medical facility set, and then we did some like little drawing room mystery set.
It's a great cast. Was it weird though when I look at the cast and I go, "Where's Kikowski?" Like I feel like Kikowski should be in it as well, just because I love Kikowski so much.
I do too. Is that weird that was your reaction? I don't know if it's weird. I guess that's a comment on us for you wishing someone else was there.
I just feel like Craig.
Wow, that was your initial reaction. Boy, I wish someone else was here. Huh.
Could probably get rid of Dave and put Craig in there. Pasquesi or whatever. Curb Your Enthusiasm. You did an episode of that.
I did.
How improvised is that? I know that
entirely.
Yeah.
Entirely. All the dialogue is improvised. I mean, you're given information that this should happen. This just happened. This is your relationship with this guy you're going to mention, but the dialogue itself is improvised.
Who directs those episodes? It's a different director every time?
It changes.
Who'd you have scenes with? Do you remember?
My scene was it was me and Larry David.
Wow.
It was the only, I think I just did one scene.
Was that cool?
Oh, it was great.
With Larry David?
Yeah. And
what's he like in this circumstance? And, this is his,
He was really helpful. It was great. It was really fun to just goof around with him. And then you do the next take and he's like, keep that, get rid of that. We don't have to do that. Just, that was great. Do that. He really nice, really helpful. And it was part of the reason that I was brought in the first place. It was, Jeff Garlin is on the show, and he has, He's like, you should see so and so for you just to get the audition, not to get the job.
Right. Oh, that's so cool. I took a Jeff Garland workshop once at Iowa West, and it was basically how to audition for Curb Your Enthusiasm. He had little things written on lines.
Right.
And he's like, this is what you get when you get a script for Curb Your Enthusiasm. This is what you get. And he's like, come on up, and this is it. And that was it. That was basically it. It was an interesting workshop.
Real specific workshop. That's a specific skill to be working on.
Yeah, I'd say so. I would say so. It was a lot of fun, though. Ice Harvest.
Harold Ramis. And TJ Jagodowski.
Love TJ. Have you worked with TJ in a lot of film stuff?
No, that was the only one. And apparently we are on the same card on the credit sequence at the top.
That's cool. That's cool. What you get? It'd be cool if like somebody was like, all right, maybe you guys are pretty known for your duo now. Do you get like offers for stuff? I don't know what, like auditions, or like does somebody want to make a TV show, like a sitcom with you guys or anything?
No.
Buddy cop movie?
No, I don't know why they wouldn't. But they don't. Once in a while, we'll get a call for, hey, we need people to do some hosting of a corporate event in Vegas.
Oh,
could you do your show? No,
not interested.
Well, it's the absolutely incorrect. We're the absolutely wrong guys. You want it's a corporate event in Vegas, and you want us to do our little quiet.
Yeah,
everybody's got to pay attention for an hour.
You could jazz it up a little,
right? Jazz it up and make it in 15 minutes. Jazz it up and do it 15 minutes, and could you put in these guys' names?
Right. And at the end, call a winner for something. Do a raffle. So, Angels and Demons. I really like that movie. Did you see Inferno yet?
I have not.
I'm just curious.
I'm looking forward to it. I like that was really fun. Those are really nice people.
What? Yeah, like Ron Howard, legend. Tom Hanks, legend.
And so fucking nice.
Really, both of them?
It's silly.
Did you form friendships with him or anything?
I've not, but Hank's more.
Yeah? Hey, he should do TJ and Dave.
He should do TJ and Dave.
Don't you think? Is he the third tonight?
He's not tonight.
Okay, not tonight.
Not tonight.
That'd be pretty cool. Bringing a friend tonight, by the way.
Okay.
And last night, Deborah came with me. And
I'm sorry I didn't get to see you afterwards.
It's okay. We just take off. I don't know what you guys are up to, so we just have to leave. But Deborah and her family came last night. Her parents and her brother. And
did they have a nice time?
Everybody loved it. The only person who hadn't seen you before is her father.
And was he all right with it?
He was all right with it.
Did he stay awake the whole time?
He stayed awake. I think so. He was down there, but he goes, "Why do people come to this? Why?"
I know why they do it.
I get why they do it.
I guess that's just a dad. I guess then it's just a dad thing.
Just a dad thing. You'll do it to your kids if you haven't already, I'm sure. Did you get to work with Ayelet's?
Sir?
You did?
I did.
She's in the show with my girlfriend.
Oh, wow.
Daredevil, in the first season.
She's awfully nice.
Yeah, I met her very briefly once, and she seemed super nice, and she's great on the show. Okay, so To Rome with Love, Woody Allen.
Woody Allen.
Let's get into Woody Allen. What legend, and also very controversial. Like what's he like as a director? You hear all these crazy things about him.
It wasn't crazy.
It wasn't crazy?
No. I mean, I'm not in much. I just did this one scene at this cafe.
You have to audition for him?
I did. I auditioned on tape.
Okay.
And it was totally improvised. There was no script. It was like, this is what's happening. This was the setting, and I did it at home by myself, with no one reading against me. I just was talking to an imaginary person.
No kidding.
And
when you do that, do you go, I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm just going to send this off, and maybe it's what they want, maybe it's not. I don't know.
Yes.
Do you feel silly doing it? Because I might feel silly just pretending that there are lines coming at me and going, are they buying this? I'm not sure if I'm buying this.
Yeah, I don't feel silly doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you feel silly thinking this is any good.
Nailed it. Send it off.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean that's the job,
Yeah.
right? Pretend like this is real.
Yeah. Have you had like some crazy auditions?
I suppose so.
Yeah.
Nothing comes to mind really.
Yeah.
But the strange thing is, the Woody Allen thing that shot in Rome
Yeah.
and Angels and Demons that shot in Rome, both from a tape, me sitting there by myself.
No kidding.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Do you do it on like not a phone? You probably didn't do it on
No, I have a actual kind of a nice camera.
a nice camera. And then you send a tape, or you
I send it.
digitalize?
I think it used to digitally send it. It's always been digital. Yeah, or for both of those anyway.
So with Woody Allen, what's the day on the set with Woody Allen like?
We just went and set up. It was a quick thing. You know, it was a kind of a not one, but it was not kind of a short scene. And my audition was I thought kind of it was funny and interesting. And then you get there and now there's a script. And the things that I did aren't in the script.
Yeah.
So it's just,
there's other people around.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's other people whose names are about are going to bring people into the theater. So you don't step on their lines.
Well, you got Penelope Cruz. And
right, but
Jesse
my scene was Alec Baldwin was
Baldwin,
and so that's who is the most important person in this scene. I know how it works.
Yeah.
So I don't want to. So and it was fine. It was absolutely fine. And we're going through the thing, and he comes up and he gives a little direction, and it was great.
Okay, all right. He wasn't a dick or anything.
No, he's great. He was great.
He's like I hear he's like sometimes passive aggressively funny, making jokes of how your performance was or something like that.
Not to me. It was he was, and to everyone. He was really nice to everyone.
How was Baldwin?
Great. He was really nice.
Did he do his Trump impression back then?
He did not. I wish he had.
Yeah, so
it was really nice.
You're a vocal on the social medias.
Mm-hmm.
You are vocally against Trump.
Yeah, I am against. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, me too. It's probably
it's terrible. It's a horrible thing, and part
he's
of
a
it.
Dick, right?
He's a dick, and he's a fucking moron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you become our president?
Well, there's several theories.
Is he the third tonight, Donald Trump?
Donald Trump will be next. It's going to be Mike Pence. Mike Pence. And
that'll go well.
If Mike Pence comes to the show, expect there to be no show. I will deny him service because he's a fucking jagoff.
Yeah.
And he comes from a state where you're allowed to do that for any reason. I can deny service to anyone regardless of the reason.
Yeah, why not? Mm-hmm. That's all right. And he'd be like, all right, that's fine. I'm going to do my own show. And then he gets on stage.
Bye.
Yeah.
No, you have to leave. You have to leave the premises. Mike Pence.
Mike Pence. More like Mike Dunce. Is that pretty good?
Nice. That was excellent.
Chicago Fire, Mob Doctor, lots of TV stuff. Boss with Kelsey Grammer. You did a bunch of episodes of that.
That was a blast.
I love Kelsey Grammer.
That was a really fun show. He was great.
It's a great show, and it was only like 2 seasons.
2 seasons,
Why is that?
I do not know the answer.
Why is that? Come on. Why
I do not know the answer.
Mike Pence, I bet, has something to do with it.
Probably.
What was working with Kelsey like? Because he's said that he can memorize in like 2 seconds lines.
It's pretty crazy.
Right?
Yeah. I'm envious of that. You know who else is really good? That Julie Louis-Dreyfus, really good. Unbelievable.
We're getting to that.
But yeah, he was great. He was really nice. I didn't have a whole lot with him.
Yeah.
He was very nice. But he was awful good in that show, wasn't he?
Yeah, great. I'm sorry it didn't last that long because I do love Kelsey Grammer. All right, VEEP. Andrew Meyer. What's the audition for this? Are you by yourself again?
Yeah.
Are you?
No, this was so Allison Jones cast it. I had auditioned for VEEP since the pilot. I auditioned maybe 5 or 6 times for different roles. So initially for the pilot, and I did not do well.
What role did you audition for? Can you say?
I'd rather not.
Okay. Was it for her role, Julia?
It was to play. She was already right. And I just did not do a very good job.
Is that an in-person audition?
In person, out in Los Angeles, with a group of people, and
that's sort of improvised too, right?
The audition, there was script, and then the audition part of the audition was also improvisation.
Okay, wow.
And so it was anyway. It didn't go all that well.
Why didn't it go well?
I didn't do a good job.
Were you nervous?
Yeah, but also it was just off.
Yeah.
I was just, and then when we're improvising, I'm improvising with these people who aren't improvisers.
Right.
So that was
weird.
Strange too, you know. So it just didn't go very well, and I'm not blaming the other people. I did not do a good job.
Well, I will blame the other people because Dave's a great improviser, so they did something wrong.
And so here's what. So then Armando Iannucci, the creator of it, was there, and he's like, "Okay, now don't do the script and just improvise." And we're going along, we're doing the scene, and this guy stops and says, "No, you're supposed to set me up for the joke." Okay, all right.
Tony Hale. Just do your own thing, Tony Hale. Don't worry about it.
It was. So then I auditioned several times in the first season. Allison Jones was a casting director, and she has always been really nice to me.
Nice.
And so she kept bringing me back, and eventually I got this one for the ex-husband. And I went out. This was in season 2, and those were strange auditions. Some of them are sent in. Some of them I was reading with someone. Went to my agent's office and read there, and then one of them was on a Skype one from my house with Armando, and I think he was in London.
Wow, That's so weird. It's so strange. But do you, after like 4 or 5 auditions, are you going, why do they keep bringing me back? I'm never going to get anything.
This is real nice of Allison, but clearly they don't want me.
Right.
But eventually they did.
They did. And you're like, well, what do I know? Well, that's a great role. You've done a bunch of episodes now. And are you allowed to say?
Yes, I'm on this season currently.
Okay, great. And you worked with them recently.
Yeah, I was there last week.
What exactly happens? Go ahead.
Exactly. There's both Mike McClintock and Gary are given keys.
You know what's crazy? Selena Meyer would be a better president than what we have coming up in 6 weeks. Don't you think?
Absolutely, hands down.
And she's a mess.
But far more qualified. Yeah.
But it's so funny watching the show and seeing her, the character, have such a power position. You're going, this is ridiculous. She's a horrible person. There's no way she would actually get into office. She's incompetent, inexperienced, buffoonery, just everything makes for good TV, fun TV.
Self-serving to the extreme, right? No one like that would actually...
Narcissistic.
Right. Yeah, she would be so much better for everyone.
Oh boy. And then I can't believe we're kind of making TV, don't you think?
That's the weird thing. I think these guys, the writers, when they start writing,
it's their fault. They're like,
this is part of my theory. They write the most absurd thing they can imagine as a group, right? It's not one person's absurd. They all are, and then by the time it gets on the air, it's like a fucking documentary.
The only thing more absurd would be like a Muppet or something being...
That would be so much better, though.
That would be better. It'd be sweet. It'd be kind of cute.
Yeah, like the old guys up in the opera box.
Waldorf and Statler, right? Those names. I saw you do God of Carnage. That was a great show.
That was a good time. That was Keith Kupfer, Beth Lakey, and
Mary Beth
Fisher, right?
And I saw that the same week. I saw Gandolfini and that group.
Did you?
In New York. Because I guess I was in New York, and then I went to Chicago from there, and I saw it. And so you guys were doing it in the same week.
Huh?
Isn't that funny? But both shows highly enjoyable.
Which one was better?
Yours.
Fucking great answer.
Well, Gandolfini did not last long after that show.
No, right. Yeah.
So it wasn't like the last time stuff happened there. But what a great play.
It was fun to do. It was real fun to do.
Do you have certain playwrights you like that you're like, oh yeah, this guy, he's great?
Tracy Letts. Mammoth. I've done 3 Mammoth shows. I really like those.
Yeah.
I've never done a Tracy play.
What would you like? Which one would you like to do?
Scavenger's Daughter. That's never been done before.
It hasn't?
No.
A play he wrote has never been done before?
Mm-hmm.
Why is that? Did he just write it?
Yeah, he just wrote it not long ago, but
Okay.
it's fucking great.
Does he know that you want to do it?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you guys could work something out, probably.
There's that. That's a great one.
Yeah, Scavenger's Daughter. Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we'll see that in the future.
Yeah, right. Who knows?
Who knows? Directed by Ron Howard. Woody Allen. Veepers. So you enjoy doing the Veeps. So what's a day on the set of Veep like? I imagine I'm rewatching The Office, the whole American version, and I just am envious every time I watch it. It just looks like such fun.
That's the thing about Veep. It's the best time. Like the other day, somebody was like, "What?" Dave Mandel was like, "What?" Because I'm just walking around with this fucking ridiculous grin on my face.
Yeah.
Because it's the best time. He asked what? Like, what have I found amusing about, or did I come up with something that I'm like, no, it's just, I'm just having the best time.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, right. It's just so much fun.
Oh,
Everyone, from her, she sets the tone.
Sure.
And she's
amazing.
She's really great.
Yeah.
She's really good, really smart, really nice, and really funny.
Yeah. All the reallys that you want.
All the right reallys.
Yeah. Do you guys, because you guys are playing ex-wife, husband, do you guys, is there a thing of like, oh, we should get to know each other as far as like chemistry or connecting or something like that? Was there any?
No, but I do think that, the first 4 seasons they shot out in Baltimore, and I do think that that's why you feel that's part of the reason that ensemble is, it feels so close.
Yeah.
Is because they were out in Baltimore.
They had no family or friends out there, so they just had each other.
Right. And they go, and so even though you're not working all the time, you go out to dinner together, you
right.
get, and things come up and, about the show or whatever. And I do think that's an underrated benefit.
Yeah.
That just getting to know each other.
Why'd they move it?
They they were the beneficiaries of a tax credit.
Oh, okay.
There's apparently like a lottery. Certain shows get tax credits.
Okay.
But it moved back from Baltimore. And when it moved is when Armando stopped doing it too.
Right,
so
right.
I think that was more helpful for him to go from London to Baltimore rather than London to Los Angeles.
Interesting. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting.
But I don't know the real reasons.
Lottery stuff. I didn't know about that stuff. What do you have coming up?
Nothing.
Nothing at all?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Oh, we're doing.
Oh, you did Veep. You're gonna do more Veep?
I hope so. I hope so.
Do they keep you like, hey, we need you to have this open?
I do not. They don't. I don't know.
Okay.
March 10th, Town Hall, TJ and Dave. Ike Reilly opening.
You cried the opening?
Ike Reilly.
Oh, I cried. I thought you said I cried.
I cried the opening. I cried the opening. I cry for a half hour. I get on a week for about 25, 30 minutes, and that's the opening. And we'll take a break. I'll dry off. I'll rehydrate.
Well, that's cool. Ike Reilly, is he coming just his whole band or just him?
Just him.
Oh, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Did you guys do that last time?
Last time, actually, the first time was Ike Reilly. Last time was Robbie Fulks.
Robbie Fulks, that's right. I was there for that one. I don't think I've ever seen Ike Reilly play. I would love to see that. Because of you guys, I got introduced. Musically, I got introduced to Ike Reilly, and I run marathons, and I put a couple of his songs in my running mix.
Have you done all 7 continents?
I did.
You recently ran a marathon in Antarctica.
In January, I ran a half. I was going to run the full, but I was sick for 2 weeks before, and
it's chilly, right?
It's a little chilly. It was freezing temperatures, even though that's their summer, and it was very hard conditions, and I was like, oh shit, I'm in trouble.
You ran 13 miles in Antarctica.
Yeah, it took 4.5 hours. Something like that. Yeah, 4.5 hours. And it was like the worst day of my life. It was like the worst day. It was really difficult. I spent 23 hours on Antarctica. 23 hours. We slept there.
4 of them trying to kill yourself.
Exactly. And I sweat. When I run,
and the rest
sweat.
Trying to stay alive.
Yeah, I sweat. So I immediately break out in sweat when I start running.
Which is great in those conditions. It's the best thing you could do.
Right. And now I'm freezing for the next 4 hours and 15 minutes. I'm freezing.
15 minutes of sweating.
Yeah.
4 hours and 15 minutes of shivering.
Yeah.
All while running.
Yeah. It was rough.
No thank you.
Nobody thanked me.
No. No, if you're offering, if I can do the same thing, no thank you.
I wasn't offering.
Okay.
You're right, though. Nobody thanked me, though.
You know what?
Where's the thanks?
Thank you.
Oh, thanks, Dave.
Thank you, EJ.
I appreciate
thanks,
that.
man.
That means a lot, actually.
Thank you.
Yeah, I ran 12 marathons in 2012, fulls.
In 1 year?
Mm-hmm. In 1 year, I ran 12 full marathons in 12 states. So I thought this year I could run 7 in 7 continents, except I've gotten more sick this year than I've ever gotten, and I've gotten more injuries than I've ever gotten. So I did 2 fulls and 5 halves.
Where was Asia?
Tokyo. I did a full. I really like Tokyo. Ever go there?
Just at the airport once.
Really nice airport.
It's a great airport. Oddly enough, really good sushi at the airport.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad. Are there other places you'd like to visit?
I want to go to India.
Oh, okay.
I've never been.
Yeah, I've never been either.
Where'd you run in Africa?
South America.
South Africa?
South Africa, sorry. Mm-hmm. I ran in South America as well. South Africa, I was on like a reserve. I can't remember the name of it.
You ran in a reserve?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with animals and stuff like that.
Like from wild cats and stuff, like big cats?
What they do is, it's all fenced in. The area is fenced in. And the night before, the trackers track the most dangerous animals.
So you just know where they are?
So they know where they are. And I think there's a way to get them out of a certain area if they need to. But there was a kill on the course for the full marathon. There was a kill. So they had to change the course because that's
coming
fresh.
At it. Mm-hmm.
That's fresh. They can't do that. And then they just keep an eye on the worst ones and hope for the best. I guess there's never been an incident, I'm told.
Yeah, why would they tell you?
Bad publicity. No, it's fine. It's fine.
It's fine. No, he just didn't finish.
Yeah, but they were like
that Dutch fellow just didn't finish. He must have gone somewhere else.
He gave up. He wasn't prepared. But I was told that some people were like, "Oh yeah, I saw a herd of buffalo running as I was running, and a herd of elk or antelope, exactly." Beautiful though. I loved it. I spent 2 weeks there. I loved it. It was a pain in the ass to get there, but I loved it. It was so good.
That's pretty cool, man. I've not been to South America. I've never been to Africa.
Oh, I went to South America 3 times this year.
Where?
I went to Punta Arenas for the Antarctica race because you spend a week there. And then I was going to run Rio de Janeiro before the Olympics, and I got horrible. I got there and I got so sick.
Food, water sick?
It was like a norovirus that went around. Like, it happens on cruise ships. So, like, I was with a running tour, and a lot of us in the running tour got so sick we couldn't even run. Most sick I've ever been in my life in those 3 days. And but I got better right at the third day to go to Iguazu Falls.
Oh, wow.
Did you ever hear
I've heard
that?
of it. I've seen pictures.
I'm so glad I got better for that. It was incredible. I recommend going there to anybody. And then, so I was like, okay, well, I still have to do a South America race. So I went back to, a few months. I went there early October to run in Ecuador, which you can skip Ecuador.
Okay.
Because there's not much going on in Ecuador.
Will do. Successful so far in my skipping Ecuador.
Yeah. Unless you're going to run. It was actually a pretty good race. Surprised. It was very flat. They start at 5 a.m. and they set off fireworks on a Sunday at 5 a.m. in the middle of the city. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Everybody real happy about it?
They seemed fine with that. I was like, this is okay with you guys? They're like, yeah, well, it's a big deal. They're blasting music. I'm like, it's 4 a.m. Like, we're getting there at 4 a.m. I'm like, what is happening?
Start that early because it'll get too warm?
I think part of it is you're running in the street.
Oh, okay.
but it was warm. Not super warm, but it was pretty warm. So I ran half of it in the dark. You know, the sun didn't come up till after 6.
Street lights or headlamps?
Street lights. And then once you're running in the street and the cars are going, you're running with the cars. So they put like iron barriers up here and there. They're like, here's one, and then like 100 feet down we'll put another one up. But everybody
gets the idea, right?
Everyone gets the idea. I'm like, all right. But that was actually not a bad race, actually, surprisingly. But yeah, how are we doing on time? Let me see. Where's my thing? Oh.
12:30.
12:30. Is it?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to say that I got to improvise with you once. Mm-hmm. You and TJ,
right.
You guys did my form.
Your show. Mm-hmm.
Did my form, and it was one of my crown jewels of improvising. So I thank you very much for coming and
absolutely, it was a good time.
Making a dream come true for me as a improv nerd. Thanks, Dave.
Appreciate it.
Can't wait to see.
Good talking to you.
Good talking to you too.
Oh yeah, wait to see what the surprise is today.
Woody Allen.
That's a possibility, right?
I'm just gonna keep naming names.
Yeah, and they're all possibilities. Only one's going to be right.
Lin-Manuel Miranda.
That is also a possibility, right?
Yeah, he's not doing anything these days. He's not doing stage stuff.
No, I don't think so. He's available. Yeah, right.
He's available.
Mm-hmm.
He's talented. Well, thanks, Dave.
All right, thanks, EJ.
There you go, folks. That was my talk with the great Dave Pasquesi. Thanks, Dave. That was so much fun. Again, folks, check out TJ and Dave. Watch him on VEEP. And subscribe to Scratch the Surface on iTunes. Write some nice reviews. Find me on the Twitter at EJ Podcast and at EJ Scott. And I guess that'll be it. And until next time, hope you have a great 2017, everybody.